Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Nur Alia Ishirah binti Jami Aris. My matric number is 01 DTK 20F1014 and I'm from class DTK 2A. I was assigned to run experiment 1, which is a diode. The components that I use is diode IN4001, diode Zener, light emitting diode LED, long nose, protoboard, and multimeter. The first component that I measure is diode IN4001 by bend the diode lead using a long nose and place it on the protoboard to facilitate the work of measuring value. I start on the multimeter. I have placed the red probe on negative side and the black probe on the positive side with resistance scale times 10. Before start measuring anything, we need to make a zero adjustment. Firstly, I measure the diode resistance when it is forward bias, which is red probe at terminal anode and black probe at terminal cathode. The value I get is 6 ohm. Secondly, I make a zero adjustment and measure the diode resistance when it in reverse bias, which is red probe at terminal cathode and black probe at terminal anode. The value I get is infinity. Next, I measure diode Zener. Just like diode IN4001, I bend the diode leg to facilitate the work of measuring value. The multimeter probe and resistance scale also has been set, same like diode IN4001. I continue by making zero adjustment. Firstly, I measure the diode resistance when it in forward bias, which is red probe at terminal anode and black probe at terminal cathode. The value that I get is 7 ohm. Secondly, I make a zero adjustment and measure the diode resistance when it in reverse bias, which is red probe at terminal cathode and black probe at terminal anode. The value I get is 160. Last but not least, I measure light emitting diode, which is LED. Just like the other two diodes, I bend the diode leg to facilitate the work of measuring value. It is also same for multimeter. I keep going by making zero adjustment. Firstly, I measure the diode resistance when it in forward bias, which is red probe at terminal anode and black probe at terminal cathode. The value that I get is 34 ohms. Secondly, I make a zero adjustment and measure the diode resistance when it in reverse bias, which is red probe at terminal cathode and black probe at terminal anode. The value I get is infinity. After finishing measuring the diode, I will fill in table 1.0 in the lab sheet. I fill in the table in column types of diodes, which is IN4001, where I need to draw its physical shape and label its terminal. On the forward bias column, based on experiment conducted earlier, the value I got is 6 ohm. However, the scale resistance on the multimeter is times 10. Therefore, we need to multiply it by 6 ohms times 10 and the result is 60 ohms. For the value of the reverse bias is infinity. The diode condition is in good condition because the forward bias has a value which is 60 ohm and the reverse bias is infinity. After that, I fill in the table for number 2, which diode Zener that I need to draw its physical shape and label its terminal. On the forward bias column, the value I got is 7 ohm. Just like diode IN4001, we need to do the same calculation, which is 7 ohm multiplied by 10 and the result is 70 ohm. For reverse bias, also need to do same as before, which is the value I got is 160 ohms and multiply it by 10. The result is 1600 ohms. The diode in short circuit because the both forward bias and reverse bias has value. Lastly, number 3, which is LED also need to do the same as the other two diode. Draw physical shape and label its terminal. The calculation for forward bias also same. The value I got is 34 ohm multiplied by 10 and the result is 340 ohm. For the value of reverse bias is infinity. The diode condition for LED is in open circuit because the both forward bias and reverse bias has a value and infinity. Here are the last result after I finish fill the table 1.0. Based on this experiment is I got to identify anode and cathode. Furthermore, I know and understand how to measure diode resistance in forward and reverse bias. That's all for now. Thank you.